the 23rd President of the United States, Benjamin Harrison.
Civil War hero.
The Sherman Antitrust Act.
Builder of the Two-Ocean Navy.
World-class orator.
Defender
Of national forests.
13 million acres.
champion
of African American rights.
Honest.
A lawyer.
Advocate for trade with Latin America.
protector
Of veterans.
We know that this is the exact spot where Benjamin Harrison was standing when he received the nomination for the presidency. Think about how momentous that is.
11,000 artifacts.
10,000 square feet.
380,000 bricks.
More than a century old.
Tens of thousands of students visit each year.
This is kind of like a million-mile car, in that it's been so well maintained over the years. It's just extraordinary.
In a few moments, you'll begin your own journey through time, an experience filled with clues and cues about the lives and legacies of the Harrison family, all recreated with meticulous attention to detail. But let's say that you had been given the task of keeping this nearly 150-year-old home vibrant for generations to come. How would you preserve a monument fit for a president? So let's imagine it is 1888, and you are among the hundreds of people packed in along Delaware Street to hear one of the speeches given by Harrison in his famous front porch campaign. Only
People walk up to the house today and go, oh, he spoke from this big porch, but he didn't.
nope. The porch came years later. That's because Benjamin Harrison lived here 26 years and made many changes. Your first decision then is,
how do you deal with a living artifact?
Is it really better to tell a longer story, or is it better to tell a very specific time frame story?
telling the story of the home as it evolved over Harrison's lifetime got the nod. Over the last century and a half, many restorations have occurred, and with each one, analytical tools and attention to historical detail have gotten more precise.
The more recent kinds of approaches, and particularly interior, have, through more analysis, research, photographs, paint analysis, so on, have returned it back to its appearance as closely as possible to when Harrison actually lived here.
It starts you on the series of questions that lead you on down an increasingly interesting path. If you know how to ask good questions, preservation is a highly entertaining field.
And clues to authentically restoring the home can come from surprising places. For example, take the tale of the missing medallion.
There were two of them, one in the back parlor and one in the front parlor. The front parlor was missing.
But restorers found that they had a unique ally when they discovered the records of Mary Lord Harrison, the president's second wife.
So she was very meticulous in maintaining records, labeled photographs, kept receipts, labeled papers.
A number of these medallions were available via catalogs. There was a receipt that indicated that the two were the same.
The library. It took a little luck to restore these walls to their exact character. This enormous bookcase, immobile for a century, was indeed moved slightly, revealing a strip of original wallpaper underneath.
We had the original photograph of the room. When we went to hang it, we emulated that the pattern and the paper be hung exactly with the same repeat in the same spot that it was originally hung in the room. Every color is a separate screen and a separate pass all the way down the line. And my joke is if you have 12 colors and you're doing maybe 20 feet or something, you have 12 times 20 times to screw it up.
Once the restorations pertained only to the first floor, but more delving into a 472-page historic structures report, an intensive surface and paint analysis, and looking through photographs and records, provided all the clues needed to authentically restore the family's bedrooms as well.
So sometimes you're not able to have a custom wallpaper made, but we are trying to be as historically correct as possible. So we have historic photographs from when the Harrisons lived here, and you can see a rose pattern wallpaper in this room, in the upstairs sitting room, and we have a photograph of what it looked like in the 1970s and in later years. And so in looking for this particular wallpaper, online we searched a lot of different patterns, and finally Bradbury & Bradbury came up with this particular suggestion, which we felt was a very good match and makes it look more historically accurate to when the Harrisons lived here.
So sometimes it just comes down to looking at hundreds and hundreds of wallpapers until you find the right match.
You can almost picture the household staff working in this authentically restored kitchen area, making a meal fit for a president, as well as family, guests, and dignitaries. But the renovations don't stop with just what's inside the residence. The cornices and 10% of the staggering 380,552 bricks that make up its exterior were tuck-pointed, and substantial work was done on all 4 chimneys. As a resource for future historians, the 3rd floor ballroom has been converted into a special exhibit space and the Harrison Family Presidential Research Library. And there's a modern-day addition on the grounds with the new Visitors Pavilion, making sure that when you step into the residence, you know as much as possible about the man and the family that once lived here.
There's been a tremendous improvement in interpretation of house museums, and a museum of this type, you really are getting a first-class interpretive experience.
History, historic preservation, interpretation all weave together, and that they can have an impact on the visitors.
There's a fun tradition that wraps up our story. During the many restorations here, workers have signed the parlor wall, ranging all the way from the present back to over a century ago. These names are perfect symbols for the incredible dedication of each generation to maintaining this home's beauty and stature.
We recognize that no story shared is unchanged in its recounting. And the same is true of preservation. That every time you touch something from the past or try to restore it, that it is going to be subtly different than it was before.
It really took on a life of its own, and I'm very happy to say that I was very delighted with the outcome of it.
This place is very special to me and will always be a special place for me.
The Benjamin Harrison Presidential Site's Fit for a President was made possible by an historic preservation education grant from Indiana Landmarks, Indiana Humanities, and the National Endowment for the Humanities, and through in-kind support from WFYI.